All right, well, yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Debbie is a, a strategic alliance partner with the Richmond chapter. She's been with us for about a year. She's the owner and president of Flair Communications, which is a full-service digital marketing agency located in downtown Fredericksburg. Debbie's a marketing expert with more than 30 years of traditional and digital marketing experience. Her business has served more than 300 domestic and international clients in business, higher education, state government, and the nonprofit sector. She's a graduate of George Mason University in Georgetown. Debbie is a former member of the Fredericksburg City Council and has served on several community boards in the Fredericksburg region. Professional recognitions and awards include 4 Clarion Awards for Excellence in Website Design, the University of Mary Washington Center for Economic Development's Entrepreneur of the Year, and was the first recipient of Cal Ripken Senior Foundation's Perfect Practice Award. Thanks for talking to us today, Debbie.
Thanks, Jason. Appreciate everybody having me here. We are going to talk about websites and really specifically how to make websites work for your business. A lot of people see websites as just a platform for information and something that's online as a presence. Really, it's one of the most important marketing tools for your business, especially now with people homebound and a lot of remote workers. We're really relying on the internet more and more. So I'm going to go through a few things. I wasn't sure how much information you already have, so feel free to ask questions, interrupt me. I tend to kind of ramble on because I get excited about these kinds of topics. So feel free to just interject and ask questions as we go. So where do you start with a website? One of the things that we tell clients is you have just seconds to make an impression on a potential client or customer. So you really want to make that count. And the way to do that is to think of it from the perspective of your potential customer or client. That's probably one of the biggest mistakes that you'll see on any kind of marketing material or a website. Businesses jump right into what they're offering, what they do, how great they are and all this kind of thing. And that's fine. But ultimately, the potential customer or client really wants to know what you're going to do for them. So we kind of look at it from 3 steps. One is engaging your visitor. So you want to have something that has a draw, something that's going to capture their attention within a few seconds. It's going to draw them into the site. You want to keep them on the site as long as you can. You want them to click through to other pages and spend time. And I'll tell you why that's important in a few minutes. But anyway, asking yourself questions is a really good way to get your mindset in that perspective. So what does your audience want and need from you most? What are the problems that you're solving? Those are some of the questions that businesses ask themselves when they're developing marketing materials, when they're doing sales. You're really problem solving for your customers and your clients. And so that's one of the first steps. The next thing is information. Obviously, you want to provide information about what you do, but again, most importantly, what are you going to do for them? That's what they're there for. And then third, how does your business provide solutions better than your competitors? You want to differentiate yourself in the market from people that are doing the same thing that you are. Why should someone buy from you, and how are they going to benefit? So when you think about those things and drill it down to those simple 3 steps, it really gets you on the right track to provide the information that's going to convert visitors into customers and clients. So designs that are for UX, user experience. Again, kind of three simple ways to get started. Having high impact visuals. So you want something that's really going to grab someone's attention. Really good high resolution images say a lot more than what you can do in messaging or text. So you really want crisp, high resolution images that can communicate your brand and messaging that are consistent with other promotions that you're doing with your business. Using white space and accent color to enable focal points to keep visitors moving down the page. This is kind of funny. Occasionally we'll get a client who will say, wow, there's some white space on there that you haven't filled up. That's kind of wasted. You know, I think we could put a lot of information in there and it's a missed opportunity. White space is deliberately used by designers to create focal points for the information that's most important. So that's used strategically to draw attention to certain points on not only a website, but other marketing materials as well. And an accent color can be something like the lime green you see here, something to draw people's attention, and we want to keep them moving down the page. Now, you probably noticed recently that over the last couple of years, website pages have become very long. And so people scroll, they don't click. There's a reason for that. Every time someone has to load a web page, it slows them down. It's a barrier to the information you're trying to get to them. Also on mobile, depending on the service carrier, web page loading can be slow. Slow websites tend to lose visitors very quickly. People just don't have patience to wait for the pages to load. So you want to be strategic about how you organize your content, but you do want to keep people moving down the page so that they can see all the content that you have to provide for them. Clear messaging. So we have a website right now that we're working on, and we're really struggling because each page has probably 2,000 words on it. We're having a hard time convincing the client that that is not a good idea for his business. Visitors scan, they don't read. So it's really important that if you have key messages, you want to make sure they stand out so that someone can recognize and find the information they need very quickly and can understand what it is you're trying to communicate. So you want to keep the messages short and simple. There is a certain amount of text you need per page for search engine optimization, but typically you want to use bold fonts, you want to use headers, you want to use short, simple paragraphs so that people can understand what you're trying to communicate to them. Intuitive navigation. So when someone goes to a website, you want to make it so that it's easy to find the information they need. Keeping phone numbers on multiple places if that's how you get contacts. Making it easy to click through to a contact form or to an email link. Those things are really important. Best practices dictate 3 clicks or less to get to the information they need. So whether that's multiple pages, whether that's an anchor that will pull them down to the bottom of the page for pertinent information, it's just important to make it easy for people to understand and to navigate your website. So how do you do that? One of the design feature that's extremely important especially with website design, is using fonts and style that support your brand. So sometimes people will choose fonts because they like them, not because they really authentically represent what their business is, the business personality, the business branding. So is it big and bold? Is it formal and conservative? Fun and creative? It just depends on what your business identity is and what your branding is, but you want to be true and authentic and consistent with that image that you're presenting for your business. So in this sample here, this is one of the websites we did for a local author. You can see that his book covers, he uses big, bold font. And so one of our designers picked up on that and used big, bold fonts throughout the website. He loved it. We also had created some custom graphics for him, some 3D renderings of his books and things like that. And you can see here where this is, there's bold font, there's italics, depending on what kind of messaging is trying to be presented. But each of those stands out by itself. Use quality images and graphics. This is something that seems pretty straightforward, but it's surprising. Sometimes we get sent pictures that are copies of copies of copies, or they're low resolution, or they're the little tiny pictures that you find on your phone, maybe an older phone, and they really aren't conducive to good website design or professional presentations. So what happens is sometimes people, they don't really think about how that's going to appear on a website. And I'd say 99.9% of the time, clients who tell us websites that they love always have outstanding, high impact, high resolution images every single time. And you can't create a good quality website with poor quality images or graphics. So how do you do that? It's well worth the money to invest in a professional logo. If you have a logo, graphic designers are extremely talented in creating not just a logo and an icon and a font that suits your business, but also a logo that can be extremely clever in projecting what your business does. So if you're working with someone good, they can really come up with branding colors and graphics and or fonts that really represent you well. Again, start with high resolution images and use graphics designed for digital. Sometimes we'll get graphics that have been scanned and they're print graphics. Those don't translate well in digital. But something that a lot of people don't realize is that all that text that's in a graphic, Google can't read it. So you lose your search engine optimization advantage with that. And so if you have graphics that are designed for digital, we can add fonts in a website that will not only showcase your graphics more professionally, but will also have some search engine optimization value. So the ultimate goal is to project professionalism. So,
hey Debbie, I have a question, and
sure.
I turned my video off because I think my audio was going in and out.
Sure.
So you said with the logo, you said it's best to get a graphic designer to do it. Do you have those people on staff, or do you outsource it, or how does that work?
We have both. So,
Okay.
We found that there's never one graphic designer who can do it all. Each graphic designer has his or her own style. So for example, we outsourced to 2 different graphic designers. One specializes in more graphic, like I'd say badge style logos. You see those a lot with almost like cartoonish type of illustrations. A lot of times they're circles. You'll see those with a lot of restaurants use those. Starbucks is an example of that kind of logo. But we have another graphic designer who does really interesting, extremely clever integrations with icons that it's kind of double duty with fonts. So he custom creates those. So he ties in the letters and turns some of the letters into icons that represent what the business does or the business's brand. And so we have that. But most of the time, we either do them in-house or we have, we create the actual concept that we're looking for, and we'll have a graphic designer actually complete the development of it. So there's lots of different ways to do it. It really depends on the client and what their individual needs are.
Okay, great, thanks.
Yeah. So being able to articulate what you do and why you're the best choice. You know, all of us as entrepreneurs, I think it's really difficult sometimes when you're really close to your business to step back and really filter out what is most important about your business to your customer. So really just being able to articulate that is extremely important. We work with a lot of small businesses, and sometimes they really struggle with that. If they can't explain what they do to us, it's really difficult for us to develop a website or any marketing collateral that can present that effectively. So, you know, asking yourself, what is your real value to your customer? What are you providing? What kind of feedback have they given you about what you do for them? Why does your customer need what you have to offer? It seems like a really simple, basic question, but we get so wrapped up in our day-to-day and involved in the technical aspects of what we do. It's really hard to step back and look at your business as a customer or a client. We have the exact same problem. Marketing agencies, always thought this was really funny and ironic, but I had heard of marketing agencies that actually hire other marketing agencies to do their websites and their marketing plans because they're so close to it. They really can't, they get overwhelmed and they can't filter through some of the important selling points. So anyway, it's doing that. It's also with a website, it's how do they get what you're offering? So making sure that it's easy to contact you. Again, phone numbers, if that's what you want people to do, is call you, fill out a form. Keeping forms very concise and short. The shorter, the better. If you ask people to fill out a lot of information, they're not going to do it. Every field that you add to a form is going to reduce the percentage of people who actually fill them out. So the most important thing is to get their contact information. You can always follow up with them later to get more, but you want to make it as easy and simple as possible. You want to create that path for a purchase. One of the things with websites is they're not just pretty pictures out there. You want to generate some kind of action, whether it's a purchase, a contact. You want them to do something, and you literally have to tell them what to do. That was another thing when I first got into this business. The best practice was you have to put on there, call us today, or call us, or contact us, email us. It seems like that's pretty self-explanatory, but it really makes a difference on what people do on your website. If you tell them what to do, they'll do it. So the don'ts, there's lots of those. I told Jason and Tori yesterday that I don't like to use real websites because it's a teeny tiny world, and somehow, some way, I'll hurt someone's feelings, and I really don't want to do that. So I'm just using a generic website that is used a lot for kind of an exaggeration of what not to do with your website. But overloading with too much detail, if everything's a priority, nothing's a priority. So you want to make sure your most important content is very clear. Think of it like a funnel. So you've got everything that you offer up top, and then you want to drive people into the areas that they're interested in, especially if you have a business that has multiple layers of products and services. For example, I don't know, Jonathan's car dealership, for example. He has service as well as sales. So their website's going to take people to different directions based on what they want and need. Same thing with our website. If somebody needs marketing services, they don't need a website. We don't want to pull them through all the website content before they actually get to the information they need. So we want to give them an overview so they understand everything that we do, and then we drive them into more detail. Animation elements are a lot of fun, and there's a lot of really cool features out there. So when you see all these websites and you say, wow, this is really fantastic, we should do this, we should do this. One of the biggest mistakes is putting too much animation on a website. Too many moving parts. There's a few reasons that's not a good idea. One is it's annoying to your visitor. If you have pop-ups constantly getting in the way of the information they're reading, that can be a distraction. The other thing is it just continually changes their focus, and they can quickly get overwhelmed. So it's easy. Every animation should have a purpose. It should, any moving elements like a video or moving text or anything like that really should have a purpose. So keeping those to a minimum and will keep them useful and effective. Copying content from other websites. Besides the copyright infringement, anything on the internet, you should assume it has a copyright and should not be used without written permission from the owner. Stock images are different. You can read the rights usages for those, but you still can't copy from another website arbitrarily and use it on your website. We do get some people that send us that kind of content. Not only is it illegal, it's also, and opens you up to liability, but it also doesn't usually display very well. It's usually low resolution when you're downloading that kind of content. Burying important content. So this comes from being overwhelmed and not really being organized about how you want to portray your services and putting a priority on those. So get to the point. Put your most important information right up front so that your audience will be drawn in by some of the best things that you have to offer. Design should be an attraction, not a distraction. And that's just kind of a good rule to follow. So the digital marketing universe, your website's just one component of your online presence. So websites, it used to be in the old days, build it and they will come. Not a lot of businesses had websites, and so it wasn't as difficult to get people to find you online. Now it's just completely overwhelming. Right away, I tell people your website ranking will change continuously all day, every day. Every few minutes, your website ranking and your business ranking on directories are going to be different. If they weren't, then every new business would never have a chance of ranking at all. So these continually evolve. There's a complex algorithm that Google and Bing use to rank websites, and there are ways that you can help optimize that. So we look at these are some of the most popular services that people do and to help boost their website ranking. One is business directories, not just Google My Business, which is the most prominent, of course, and the most visible, but there are others out there like yellowpages.com, Superpages, Manta, other kinds of maybe lesser used, but every one of those backlinks that go back to your website, Google sees those as authoritative directories and sites, so it can help create higher rankings for your website. And we'll get into those. Online reviews are customer reviews, feedback about your business and or products. Social media marketing, we all know those, multiple channels for that. email. I'll get into that in a second, and Google Ads. Those are some of the most popular and the most prominent ways to promote your website. The most important thing is you want to use multi-channel engagement to drive traffic. So I call these free ways to promote your website. We all know nothing's free, really, but these are ways that you can invest time in your business to help drive more traffic to your website. So the three most obvious ones are email, online directories, and online reviews. So for example, email. So if you have a CRM system, you can set up an email funnel that will, when you're collecting emails through your website, through an embedded form, through social media, wherever it is that you're collecting those emails and contacts, it can go right into an email funnel. It can be automated, so it's a lot less manpower, and it can, because those can be customized based on whatever your customer's interested in or your client's interested in. So if they check off a certain, based on the action that they take or the item that they select, let's say, for example, someone fills out one of our forms and they check off website, they would go into our website funnel and they would receive emails about how they can get a website quote, some of the benefits of having a good quality website. There's lots of different ways you can do it, but it's an email series that can help you automate your sales process and your lead generation process. Embedding a website lead form into your website is absolutely critical. It just puts everything into that CRM. You just take a simple bit of code, put it on the web page, and it's an automated form that just brings everything into your database so that you can use that data to sell your services or products to your clients and customers. Collecting emails via social. The reason that's so critical, you don't own any of the people that follow your pages in Facebook. Consequently, Facebook filters, Facebook, LinkedIn, any of these social media platforms filter the number of people who see your promotions and your posts. So yesterday we had a client who said, oh, you know, I think we need to hire you for social media marketing. We posted a bunch of posts and I don't see them. They're not showing up in my news feed. And we tried to explain that just because you post them doesn't mean they're going to show up to everybody. As a matter of fact, even if you have 2,000 followers, they had 4,400 followers. They were only getting a reach of maybe 20 people seeing those organic or non-paid promotions. And there's one simple reason for that. Facebook wants to sell more paid promotions, more advertising, as does LinkedIn and so on. So the best way to counter that or mitigate that is to find ways to get people to give you their email address so that you can make direct contact and you can own those leads. How do you do that? There's a lot of ways to do it, but just briefly, offering something of value. So you'll see a lot of times where if you're on social media, somebody will offer a PDF guidebook to the top 10 things to do to make your website rank on page 1, you know, for example, those kinds of things. Or maybe, somebody else will send something out like 10 things to ask a home health care agency before you hire someone, that kind of thing. So anything of value, a lot of times people will give you their contact information in exchange for that. So those are just a couple of examples of how you can do that. Optimizing directories. So I used our online Google listing there on the mock-up, the computer mock-up there. And you can kind of see when I put in Flare Communication, that's the first thing that comes up, that Google business listing. That is your absolutely most critical business listing, and every single business should have that optimized. Google My Business is actually expanding their presence. In some cases with restaurants, with online e-commerce stores and things like that, you may have already noticed they've got menus out there. You can order from there. You can shop from there. There's a lot of capabilities. One of the things we use it a lot for is to post promotions. You can post updates on your Google business listing on a regular basis. They usually keep them up there they stay up there permanently, but the current one that shows usually stays prominent for about 7 to 10 days. And then Google is very helpful. They send you a reminder email and they say, oh, do you want to post a new update? And then we always say, of course we do. So we just post it, and it's all free. So it's a great way to help your business show up higher on Google Maps, on regular listings, and of course it boosts your search engine optimization for your website. Providing backlinks to your website is extremely important. Again, like I mentioned before, with the multiple directories, if you just Googled top tier business directories, you can find lots of links to show you which directories might be most beneficial to your business. The free promotional posts, of course, on Google My Business. And then it also provides a forum for online reviews. So when people post a review, Google My Business is the most prominent. That's the one that they're going to see the most of. That's where we send all of our clients to post reviews, because it's the most advantageous for us. It may not be for you. Sometimes restaurants might do better on a different forum like TripAdvisor. Hotels do better on TripAdvisor, that kind of thing. But most small businesses have Google My Business listings. They're free again, and very, very helpful to promote your business. Social media. So there's so many platforms. I didn't even include TikTok on here. I don't know if any of you use TikTok, but that's a rapidly growing platform as well. This gives you kind of a view of the audience. So not every platform is appropriate for every business. We do not really get clients from Facebook or really any social media platform. Most of ours come from other promotion avenues, but because we're a digital marketing agency, we feel obligated to post on social regularly. So we do, but it's a good idea to do it and have a presence, even if it's not a primary lead generator for you. Again, because social media can create some engagement from your audience, and it still is one of the biggest drivers of search engine optimization and website traffic. So Google recognizes all of the social platforms as lucrative for not only their own advertising, but they reward websites that get a lot of traffic and businesses that generate a lot of engagement with their customers. So what do I mean by engagement? So when you're posting on social media, the main thing you want to do is you want to generate likes, get comments. What we absolutely love is when people share posts, because when they share them, the reach is just exponential. So someone might pay for, let's say, a boost for $400 or something, and they reach, 8,000 targeted users or something like that. Depending on how many people engage with that promotion, their yield could actually be double that easily. Could be 12 to 16,000 people who have seen that promotion and have engaged or liked that post. And the reason for that is once someone engages with a post, it goes to their friends, their friends' friends, and so on and so on. So it's a bit of a ripple effect once you've caught someone's attention with that. YouTube is a big one. A lot of people say, oh, go video. Video is great if it works for your business. it's not for everybody. You have to be comfortable and relaxed with it, and provide something that people want to watch. So the most important thing with social is to choose platforms that really work and are appropriate for your business. So online reviews are probably one of the fastest growing segments of digital marketing. And the reason for that is because they are incredibly effective. So people are looking for online reviews. Every single one of us uses reviews. How many of you have used reviews recently for purchases or just researching products and whatnot? Yeah, so Corrine has, and yeah, it's, you know, I think all of us, it's kind of funny. It's ironic that we really trust perfect strangers when they recommend products. I think where the value is people give detail about what those are. People love to, you know, share information about their experiences, whether it's with a product, with a service, with an individual who was very helpful, or unfortunately people that maybe weren't very helpful. But 93% of people use reviews before they make a purchase or hire a service business. You're building customer trust, of course. You're converting searchers into leads. So when people are searching for a business, sometimes reviews are one of the first things that pop up. You're boosting your local search rankings. So typically speaking, when a business has more reviews, they come up higher. They look more relevant. People are purchasing from them. Google wants to reward them. Not because Google's nice, but because Google wants to make more money from advertising. So that's why that works. Reviews also are very influential for generating referrals. If someone reads several reviews and it looks like it resonates with what they're looking for, they're more likely to make a purchase. They're going to feel more confident about that purchase. It provides valuable feedback for your business. So we actually do online review campaigns. And so clients send us a list of their customers, and we have a secure system that actually solicits feedback about the service or the product that they've purchased. And all of that feedback goes back to our clients' email box. So they get all of the feedback, and then 4 and 5 star reviews get invited to post on Google. The 3 stars and below only go to the email box. It doesn't prevent people from posting a review, but it just helps to facilitate the positive reviews. It makes it easy for them to post those on Google, Facebook, or wherever else someone wants to post them. So it helps you to identify, it's almost a survey, customer survey in a way, where you can identify some places maybe that you need improvement with your staffing, training, or services. And increases clicks on this search engine results page, which is the page that all the search results come up for your keywords, for your business name. It increases the number of people that click on your links to get to your website and your business contact information. So this is an interesting stat. So 48% of consumers pay attention only to reviews that were posted within the last 2 weeks. And the reason for that is they want to know that these are relevant. You know, if it's somebody who purchased 2 years ago, there's a lot that changes in that amount of time, even 6 months ago. The other thing is when reviews are consistent, it gives the potential buyer the information that your business is relevant, that people are consistently consuming, purchasing, and also providing feedback. So it really does help build that momentum for more search engine optimization, better leads, and more consumer confidence in your product or service. So businesses with no reviews versus businesses with 5 or more reviews, there's a 270% likelihood that someone will purchase from a business with 5 or more reviews over a business with no reviews. Now, I don't know, this is an example, and I hear this a lot about like products that you're purchasing online. Are you more likely to purchase a product with no reviews or one that has, 2,000 5-star reviews? That's pretty obvious. Most of the time there's a range of ratings, and that's okay. What it does is it gives context to what that product is. Not every product or service is right for every single customer. We all know that. We all want to be that, but that's not always possible. So there will be some times where you kind of have a miss. But for the most part, the more reviews that are out there, the more high quality content and information those reviewers provide, the better it's going to be, the better educated your customers or clients are going to be when they make that purchase. So it's all about building confidence. So negative reviews. This is something I know that it is always troubling when we do online review campaigns, and we can't prevent someone from posting a bad review on their own. We don't facilitate that, but someone can always go to any review platform and post a negative review. So most of the time, it's not about the negative review. It's most important about how the business responds to that negative review. We've all had bad days. All of us have had situations where we haven't delivered 100% for whatever reason. We fell short of expectations. And consumers are forgiving. I mean, they don't, if you've seen a negative review about a hotel or a restaurant, it doesn't mean you're never going to go to that restaurant. I think it's really more about what does a business do when they fell short? Do they care about what the customer thinks, and are they dedicated to make it right? Or do they not care about it and they just ignore it or try to hide it? So I think when a business responds constructively and positively to a negative review and tries to resolve it, it can actually project a more influential impression to a potential buyer or consumer than a 5-star review. Because we're all great when we get 5-star reviews. We're all happy and everybody's on their best behavior, and we all love that. But when bad things happen, it's really important to manage that in a very controlled, helpful way. And I think what that does is it projects the message to your potential customers that you care about your business and you care about them. And that really goes a long way to whether you have a buyer and a repeat customer. So where's my picture? Anyway, that's a little doctor that's supposed to be on the side. I don't know if it's not loading or what, but anyway. So I selected out healthcare only because that's a situation where personal relationships and trust are so important. Of course, there are a lot of different industries where that's important. Home nursing care, child care, all kinds of things where, your personal safety and health are at risk. And so this was an example of how critical reviews are for those kinds of businesses and services. So, but if you think about it, people also are just as concerned about reliability of products, longevity of products and services, things like that, and how that's going to benefit them in the long run. So really your website is a lot more than just a website. It's really part of a bigger internet ecosystem. a marketing system that really has broad reach on the internet, and utilizing all of those channels and optimizing those for your particular business really can go a long way to help optimize your online presence, but most importantly, drive more leads to your site. So Steve Jobs, who, of course, he's one of our, gurus in terms of leadership in our industry on a lot of fronts. But and his quote, "Design is not what it looks like and feels like; it's how it works." And that's really true for your website too. It's really not. It's really only as good as what it's intended to do, what its goals are. So hopefully that was helpful for you, and you can take a look at some of your marketing materials in your website and see how you might be able to make improvements.
Thanks, Debbie. We have time for questions if anybody has a question. I have one first, Debbie. So I looked at our Googled our company, and we have no reviews via Google. But on our website, we do have surveys for our clients to fill out,
Mm-hmm.
but our clients rarely fill them out. What would you recommend for how do we incentivize clients and customers to fill out surveys or write reviews about us?
Well, simply have to ask them.
Okay.
A lot of clients and customers are more than willing to post reviews. And I think the stat is about 68% of consumers who are asked to post a review will do it. And so it's important to reach out and tell them that you would like them to do that. They're not really thinking, let me go post a review. Usually those are the outliers, the really happy customers or the really unhappy customers. Mm-hmm. So you want to kind of capture that bulk of the middle ground people who are happy but just didn't think to go and post it. The only downside to online review or to surveys on your own website is they're not sometimes they're not seen as objective. So when you post when we post reviews or testimonials on a website, we'll usually recommend to a client to link to their online reviews. And the reason for that is, even though review platforms aren't 100% foolproof, they make you register. You can, a lot of times you can tell whether it's a real customer or not, or a real client. And responding to every review, good and bad, also can help raise the visibility of those. But I think online review platforms are seen as more objective, a little, just because the customer, the business can't control it. If you have anybody who's had a bad review, we've had people call us and say, "Oh, well, you have to get that review off of there." And I just, we can't do that. It's not possible. Facebook will not remove reviews, neither will Google. Really takes an act of Congress or legal action or something to do that. There has to be a bona fide reason for it. And when you think about it, that's important, because you don't want just 5-star reviews. You don't want a business to be able to filter out bad reviews. And that gets back to, it's not the bad review, it's how you handle the bad review and how responsive you are. And the best way to combat bad reviews is to generate more positive reviews. So does that answer your question, Jason?
Yes, it does. Thank you. Does anyone else have any questions for Debbie?
Debbie, this is Alex. Thanks for the presentation. It's been really good. I want to talk about email campaign, because usually email campaigns is not something that talked about much, because that's something like so 1990s, right? Like email.
Right.
Like, but in your experience, because I I think what you mentioned is email was the first thing you mentioned, which I was surprised about because everybody starts talking about Google AdWords and, sexy stuff like social media.
Sure.
What's the, if you have to rank them, did you start with email because it's the most effective in your opinion? I'm just curious about all the
I
strategies.
didn't necessarily rank in order because every business's priority is going to be different. And email is going to work differently for each type of business and individual business. When we look at email was typically seen as, oh, it's outdated and people are tired of getting emails. But if you look at the number of email solicitations you get from businesses that you purchase products from, information that you get, emails come a long way from the 90s. So what people are doing is it's not the email itself, it's how you email. So when I talk about marketing funnels, I'm not talking about sell over and over again. I'm talking about developing a relationship with your client or with your potential customer. And the way you do that is you're providing information that's useful and valuable to them in a way that is attractive and usable. So for example, you might share a video on how to optimize, or for me, for example, I might share a video on how to quickly verify your Google business listing and, optimize it, or how to post a promotion or something like that. Something that resonates with that particular person. So, or, resources, free resources, free tools to use to optimize your website or to track competitor advertising, things like that. There's lots of different things out there for that. So it just depends on the industry. Like, for example, healthcare, we do email a lot for healthcare. And of course, with COVID, that's been critical. But beyond, even before that, it was things like, primary care practices, nutrition information, how to, just resources and health-related information that might be helpful to a particular patient. Type 2 diabetes patients, for example, they might be in a specific funnel to receive certain kinds of emails. You can also utilize email in a dynamic way by channeling them into a different funnel based on their action. So if they click on a certain link, or they respond to something, or they click through to a web page, you can put them into a different funnel based on their interests. And that creates a much more targeted campaign, which generates better conversions. So it's not just sending out mass emails for the sake of sending out mass emails. All of us get those. It's really more about cultivating a targeted promotion in the form of valuable content for the particular person you're trying to reach. Does that make sense?
Yes. Thank you. Yeah, I just found it interesting because I haven't done email marketing, and it looks, it makes sense to me. I get a lot of emails that I respond to from marketers.
Yeah, so that's kind of, it's really more about the campaign and the person you're trying to target than it is just email itself. So.
Thank you.
I actually have Debbie. This is Ann Trong. How are you? Thank you for doing this great webinar. Debbie would help me with our women entrepreneurship event. Like, was it a couple of years ago then? Or was it last year?
Hard to believe it was that long ago, but yes, I think it was.
Yeah, I actually have a two-part questions, and I came kind of late, so if I'm repeating something you already said, I apologize. The first part is, how often do you recommend that you update your website? because, time change, and my last website was done, my current website was done perhaps 2004. No, 2014, sorry, 2014. So how often should we reevaluate our website to determine whether we need to renew it? And our website industry specific, or is more general and going with the layout and delivering content and conversion?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So updating websites. So search engine optimization, ranking your website higher. There are so many different tactics you can use. One of the most important is having a current updated website that has a secure SSL certificate. So when you see the HTTPS on the URL of your domain browser address, that's a secure website. Google requires that now. Often you'll see a website that you'll click on and it says not secure, go back to safety. That's why. But generally speaking, you should be adding fresh content to your website at least once a month. You can do it more frequently, but at least once a month. The website design itself, if you have a website that you had someone design and it's just a static site, that's not advised today, but some people still do that. That site will generally be dated within 2 years. Absolutely needs an overhaul at 3 years most of the time. That's because a lot of the functions, a lot of the applications that are available for websites have really evolved and they change very frequently. So we actually changed our business model because of that quite a few years ago. We found that the technology was changing so quickly that we ended up doing, we maintain almost 100% of our clients' websites. And as part of that service, not only are we maintaining and adding new content, but we're also doing design updates. So for example, websites, you see a lot of the headers are a lot thinner now. They used to be really big, now they're really thin. We make tweaks like that to a client's website and other updates and changes that can extend their website, the life of their website design, sometimes indefinitely. Some of our clients, we originally designed their site 6-7 years ago, but it still looks as fresh as it did the day we did it, the day we launched it, because we've added and updated the applications and some of the design techniques. So it's important to do that. It's also important to have someone, whether it's someone in-house or an agency, monitoring Google Console, the activity. Sometimes errors will get kicked out. They're just not relevant, but they require a webmaster to respond to them and to make sure that the site's submitted again for scanning. But so generally speaking, you should be regularly adding fresh content to your website. Google rewards relevant current content by ranking the website higher. And again, it's all about advertising dollars. If you just think about what the motivation of Facebook, Google, all of us really is to generate more revenue. And so that's how they do that. They want to put the best content in front of website visitors and people who are searching for your kind of business and services. Does that help?
Yes, that was very helpful. What about industry? Like I'm in healthcare, and compared to Alex, who is in housing, and so does the website matter? Design matter at all for the different clientele?
Yes. So every business should have an online presence, whether it's a web page, a full website, some way for people to find you online. There is, I mean, I guess they still publish the yellow pages, but I can't think of a lot of people that use it. So, you know, even senior citizens who really weren't very tech savvy are doing Google searches for businesses and products and you know, health practitioners like you. And so it's really important to have that presence. And the basic marketing and design and SEO principles are the same. They're just customized for a particular business. So, but you know, the basic principles are the same.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for doing the webinar. It's wonderful.
Oh, you're welcome. Happy to do it.
Well, that's all the time we have today. But again, thank you so much, Debbie, for presenting today.
Thanks,
And
Jason.
thank you for your partnership with EO Richmond.
Thanks all. Have a great day.